Good evening, ladies and gents. As you are coming in, if you can see my screen and you can hear my voice, I can see hands coming in. Thank you guys very much. Um, yeah, markets have been have been quite something the past couple of weeks. Been up strong, of course, given the situation in Russia and Ukraine. So I got stopped in a few. I think and I think maybe my stop was just below the gapping candle there. But I'm just going to now wait for it to come back above 54.97 and then rebuild this position. I also got dumped out of Mr. Price um, as it was coming back about below that 50-day exponential moving average. I had raised my stop loss to around that 202-ish level, just above the 50-day. That's the candle that took me out. So I'm waiting for it to come back above 222, and then I'll rebuild this position as well. Also got stopped out on the Citrix 40, but I jumped back in as well. Yeah, do that. But I jump back in. Let me quickly do that. So this is the candle that stopped me out. I did take this candle. I got a slightly better price the next day. Then almost immediately got triggered, which confirmed yesterday. You would have gotten the email if you subscribed. Looking markets reaching new highs again, making a new high, a new all-time high today. Also got dumped out of clicks. Let me bring those back. Now I'm just going to be waiting for it to come back above 304 to rebuild this position. Also in Bitcop. I got stopped quite a bit as the market got volatile. Got stopped on Bitcop. Now I'm going to wait for let's go and make it that. 341. But it looks like that uptrend is holding nicely if you zoom back a little bit. That uptrend is holding nicely, still battling with the 200-day exponential moving average. So it's going to be some time till I jump back in this trade. And then last but not least is Astral Food as well. It got hit quite hard. Long-term trend still holds, even if you bring that a bit closer there, still holds. So yeah, I'm gonna be out of this one for quite some time. Now looking back into, I added to a few of my positions, which we'll get to in a moment. So ABSA looking nicely, bouncing off that 50-day exponential moving average. Still remembering that 181 level. Markets of memory. Markets remember that level again. So I'm still just waiting for that 181.80 level to break. Then I'll slightly raise my stop loss just below the 50-day exponential moving average. I'll be jogging my stop loss ever so slowly behind me. Commodities were so far the biggest benefactors of this war in Ukraine and Russia. We've seen Russia being supplying a bulk of the global accounting, Russia accounting for a bulk of the global commodity supply, particularly palladium, platinum, oil, gold as well. So with Russia's sanctions, one would think that it will constrain the supply in these commodities, putting pressure on the price to run higher. So and our miners are well positioned to take advantage of those rising prices. So I got triggered on a buy on a bunch of these platinum stocks, and they've been doing well quite so far. And I think that the holding that top 40 afloat. Nice platinum stocks are just running. If also you look at implants as well, so they hit that target, that head and shoulders target there. So I'm just gonna wait for it. It hit it with a doji, so I don't trust that candle that much. So I'm gonna wait for a doji turn. If we get a nice doji, I'll raise my stop and add to the position. Anglo Gold, like I said, commodity stocks were running quite hard. Now battling, even with war out the window, markets still possess some memory. Remember that 137 rand price. So I'm waiting for it to break, at which point I'll raise my stop loss and add to the position. British American Tobacco, found some selling there at 707. Looks like buyers are starting to come back. Looks like there's a fair bit of slowing down of that selling. So I'm waiting for it to come back above that 707 level. I'm targeting that 657 rand level as a next place to place a stop loss, and maybe that 50-day exponential moving average would have caught up. And then looking for a breakthrough that 732 level. If we can break 732, and then I'll look to add to my position. Invest, it broke back again, making what is new relative. I think it's new. New relative highs, taking that level out and zoom in to go back to that level. So when it came back, so the market, as you can see, every time it came to this level, it remembered it and had a reaction up until now. It did yesterday, but it broke that level, so that is quite significant. I'm not going to be in a hurry to raise the stop losses yet. What I will do instead is go back there, and for now just eye for the break above 250, and I'm sure there's going to be much better price action, giving me nice places to hide my stop loss. At the moment, it isn't clear to me where I could hide my stop loss, so I'm gonna put some brakes on raising the stop loss for the moment. Just gonna wait for that 250 level, and then we'll take it from there. Capitec in a nice ascending triangle pattern, holding off that 50-day exponential moving average. Get that out of the way. Holding off that 50-day exponential moving average. I'm waiting for the breakthrough, that 221.36, and perhaps that's 21.77 as well. Then I'll be raising my stop loss behind me, and as it starts to get above my last entry point, start to add to the position. Discovery. Again, markets and memory. If we jump back to that weekly chart. So found some resistance again there at 167. So now I'm waiting for it to break that 167.45 rand level. If we can get a breakthrough that, I will raise my stop loss to just below the 50-day exponential moving average. But won't be adding to this position as yet, because I'm waiting for my stop loss to come above my last entry point. Guys, you have questions, feel free to pop them in, or if you have a chat request, feel free to pop them in the Q&A box or the chat box as well. Njabulo have been moving quite nicely, breaking through higher boxes again because of the insane volatility and not great places to highly stop. I've been quite cautious with with my raising of my stop loss. So for now, I'm gonna raise it today to after this to 183. What at about break even, but we won't be adding it yet. So I'm gonna be if it goes to a higher box, if it goes to this higher box, I'll raise my stop loss to 201, and only then will I add to the position. First rand, looking nicely, looking like it's forming an ascending triangle pattern. So I'm going to wait for it to properly break through that 67 rand for the 67.75. And then I'll raise my stop loss slightly to just below the 50-day exponential moving average, depending on how well that 67.75 rand level holds up. If it holds up strongly and comes back to retest the upslope, the uptrend line support, and perhaps that 50-day exponential moving average as well. Perhaps I could have a higher level to target it as a place to hide my stop. For Shini, I got it came bitterly close to stopping me out on Monday, just battling with that 50-day exponential moving average. And I think I'm going to be trapped in this position for quite some time. I wonder if I should just execute a time stop, because I'm going to be trapped in this for a while. Just take the loss, cut the loss, and not spend any more in swaps, and just wait for it to come back above that 41 rand level. Still, I have to ponder this whole idea of time stops. Glencoe, moving nicely, moved into a higher box. I did raise my stop loss to just below the 50-day exponential moving average. So now I'm waiting for it to come back through this higher box. If it does, I'll raise my stop loss to just below the gap in candle there, around 88 rand, and then add to this position. Go films. Looking very nicely, broke through the high box. We have a cup and handle. If you're looking at the weekly chart, that's that cup there, and the handle with the golden cross at the back of us, and commodity prices rising. So if it breaks through that 234 rand level, breaking into a higher box, I will raise my stop loss to around 180, 186.89. And then add to my position. Mpala looking very nicely. Still remembering that 294 resistance level, waiting for it to break before I could raise my stop loss to around the 256 rand level, and then start to think about drawing boxes yet again. Okay, Imran is asking on Fushini. Let me jump back to that Fushini chart. So he said, can you explain why you will be stuck on and it could not break? So I'm not saying it will not break. It will probably break. I don't know. Maybe it'll break. Maybe it will not break. What I'm saying is I'll be stuck in this trade paying swaps every day, because I don't think it's going to break anytime soon. I think it's going to take some time to break, maybe another 3 or 4 weeks with me holding this position. So rather, I cut this loss short and save on the swaps and only jump back in when it breaks. that's 141, excuse me, 141 50 rand level, because at the moment it's not going to do anything special for a very long time, and it's not going to do anything special below that 141 rand level. So even if it's most likely going to hold at 141.50 level before it breaks. And then if it breaks, I'll just jump back in. But with even the moving averages are crisscrossing, prices below the 200-day exponential moving average. So there's a fair bit of things going um, against this trade. So maybe I think I'm gonna put a trigger on the time stop on this one. I think it will be the first time I actually exit a trade on a time stop. That was a good question. Thank you very much. I'll look into the other two in a moment. Investing. I, I think I think I'm going to get stopped in this one. But unlike Foschini, with this one is a big winner. I'm happy to wait for my stop to be hit, um, and not trigger a time stop, because with winners, I want to give them more of a benefit of a doubt that they will break higher. So at the moment, Investec is battling with that 50-day exponential moving average, but it looks like the selling is dried up. If you look at these candles, they're not. The stock is not moving by very much intraday, so there is some they call this an area of value where buyers and sellers sort of agreeing in price. So we'll see who's winning this tug of war around the 50-day exponential moving average. But I'm happy to hold through it, and hopefully we'll re-break higher. I don't know, maybe if results or something would be a catalyst to push the stock one way or the other. Investec forming a nice on a nice uptrend. So I did add when it jumped into a higher box, but now it has found some sellers around that 109 level. So I'm gonna wait for it to see how it reacts to that 109 level. I expect the market to have some sort of reaction to find some sellers there again around that 109 level. MTN. Another one benefiting from commodity prices rising. As you guys know, MTN have their big exposure um, in Nigeria, and Nigeria benefits a lot from oil. Hence the correlation between the oil prices and MTN moving very nicely, breaking into a higher box. I added a 10% risk on this trade this morning. The reason why you see two buys here, I was meant to buy 36 shares, but my first, I made a mistake of buying 30 instead of 36, so I just immediately added um, the other six. Unfortunately, the price was still trading below the last entry point, so I didn't compromise my average entry point there. So now I'm just going to be watching MTN climb through higher boxes, and as it climbs through higher boxes, I'm going to be raising my stop loss and adding to my position. This position is my biggest position in my portfolio, and it's accounting for more than half of the profits. You know, it's fulfilling the theory that 20% of the profits will come from, I mean, rather 80% of the profits will come from 20% of the trades. So such is the case with MTN, comprising of a big portion of my operating profits at the moment. Let's look at NetBank. Nice little bullish breakout there. So the breakout I was looking at was this one, right? But then it broke out with a doji, so I didn't trust that candle. So I wanted a green candle, which today was a nice bullish engulfing candle, closing through, invalidating this doji. So I'm going to raise my stop loss to just around there, and then add to my position. Um, yeah, I'm going to add to my position here on Nedbank. Northern Plat, looking very nicely, still holding that old resistance there at 257, but still looking nice and steady. Just the level that I'm really waiting for is that 275. If we can break through to 275, I think we're going to see the stock starts to run. And when you look at commodity prices, that they're bound to have a base effect, return here, because the past year they've been selling all these platinum and commodity stocks. They've been selling to a falling market, and with the current situation in Ukraine and Russia, they're about to sell into a rising market. So you can expect a better earnings in the future, on the basis of that they're about to sell into a rising market, as price takers. So I'm liking platinum stocks quite a bit. And in fact, all commodity stocks, gold, platinum, I'm picking them up as they break high. So my basis of entry is still on the chart. Yeah, I may have a market opinion, but I'm still going to express it in using charts. I'm not going to just take a position simply because of a market theory that I have. Royal Bafokeng, moving to a higher box. So there's an acquisition story around Royal Bafokeng with both Northern and Implex, I believe, buying it. So I'm not 100% sure how that's gonna play out in terms of delisting or something of the sort. But for now, I'm just gonna trade what's happening on the chart, pretending or assuming that the stock will not delist. Rumgo broke nicely. So I think we're going to jump into a higher box tomorrow. When I jump into a higher box, I'll raise my stop to in between that gap there, as the stock broke through the short-term resistance there. So I'm going to raise my stop loss to just between that gap, and monitor the situation again. Rand Merchant, looking very nicely, bouncing off that 50-day exponential moving average, waiting for it to come back through that 50-day 72, and then I'll raise my stop loss to just below that 50-day exponential moving average, and then add to my position, because my stop loss would be at break even or better. Suddenly I'm testing that 50-day exponential moving average yet again, looking very nicely. Waiting for it to come back above that 67 Rand. I'm going to be looking for places to hide, in between now and then, for me to start looking to raise my stop loss, and add into the position. Sasso moving into a higher box very, very nicely. So for now, I'm going to cautiously raise my stop loss to just below the doji there, around 329, reducing or rather increasing the profits ever so slightly. The reason why I don't want to be in a hurry to aggressively move my stop loss is because there's still a fair bit of volatility happening in the market. So I want to still keep my stop loss at a fair distance. So I'm going to raise it slightly to that 329.30 level. think we did touch on Sasso. ShopRite breaking through nicely. Breaking a nice position off in candle there, breaking out out of the up channel. So I will raise my stop loss to just below the 50-day exponential moving average, and then add to my position. Nsibande, it did break, but slightly yesterday, and then today it is with a doji. So I'm gonna hold off on taking any further action for now. But if the doji gets invalidated, I will raise my stop loss and look to add to this position. Standard Bank looking fairly nicely, bouncing off that 50-day exponential moving average. Looking very nicely. Let's see how it reacts again at that, what is it, 169 Rand level. Searching capital. Looking very nicely, holding that uptrend support. Nice position offering today at that 50-day exponential moving average. Another one stuck in a tug of war at the 50-day exponential moving average. So I'm waiting for a close through that 46.56. At which point I look to for a better place to hide my stop loss. Perhaps just below that position walking candle, because I might have that 50-day exponential moving average protecting me. And then last but not least is Vodacom. We had a nice breakout today, so I'm going to raise my stop loss to around 140.50. Let's call it 140.50, and then add to the position. So Imran also asked on Aspen. Let's quickly have a look-see on Aspen. So there was a time of war around that 200-day exponential moving average, and I think sellers are winning that one. So if already in, I'll be looking to start selling, particularly when it makes a new low below that 101.50, 190, level. But if it somehow miraculously break back above the 50-day exponential moving average, then it's back at a buy again with a stop loss at that 51.50 level. So if we take out that low, I think there's going to be some more pain on Aspen. But if we somehow survive that and break back above 250, I mean rather 210, then we will it will become a buy again. And then I realize, okay, let me do this because I know some of these charts that you guys. Let me pull in my trading view so that we can look at some of these other charts. Just give it a moment. Just a second. In the meantime, guys, keep them coming. Keep the charts coming on the Q&A and the chat box as we wait for this to load. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, I made a new high. Let me come back. So I started this. The total funded. My total capital funded on this account was 10,000. Now we're sitting at just under 30, which means we almost tripled since we started. almost tripled money, and I think the unitized portfolio is up about, I think, just over, just around 150. I don't have the numbers at hand. We can pull it up after we look at these charts, but they are looking very, very nicely. Let's look at Renat. Ooh, I do not like that volatility at all. I do not like. I don't like that volatility at all. I'd rather. No, this thing is acting up. Let's look at the weekly chart rather. So it's still forming a base. It's still following a base. I would wait for it. I would honestly wait for it to come back above 55. Otherwise, I'd rather bet on cash when it comes to one and two, below 200 week, below 50 day, and it's too volatile to trade on a daily chart. So I'd rather wait for it as an investment type of play. I'd rather wait for that 55 rand 20 to break. PPH. Pep was generally on a. Let me move back into the daily chart. So Pepco broke below that uptrend support as it lost the battle of the 50-day exponential moving average, but the 200-day seems to be holding. Need to change these colors. Maybe to be a bit bigger. Yeah, something odd happened with. Wants it much better. So it's still battling with that 200-day exponential moving average. So it's still unclear whether it's merely just testing the trend line from the other side, or holding that 200 days sincerely. So what I would rather do, what I'm actually doing, is just waiting for it to come back above 24 rand. So if it comes back above that 24 rand level, then I rebuild this position yet again. But it's been a tough hold. They've had quite deep drawdowns. Guys, I am not seeing any more questions coming in. If there aren't any, we're gonna park it here. Yeah, the video will be up in a few hours on the VillageTrader YouTube channel. Do subscribe and hit the bell notification button so that you don't miss any. Rob is asking for DRD. Let's jump into DRD quickly. So again, commodity stocks are running. Gold is running quite hard. We can look at the gold chart in a moment, but we have a nice double bottom here. Now it's back above that 200-day exponential moving average. So I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for a golden cross. So which means I'm probably waiting for a break above 17 rand. And if you look at the weekly chart. if you're looking at the weekly chart, it's also looking quite like coming back above that 50-week exponential moving average. So somewhere around 17, 18 rand, then I'll be looking to jump back into I'll be willing to jump into this trade. But for now, I'm just waiting for that golden cross. But start building a position with a higher risk of already. But I think with the war at the back, I think that's some decent wind at the back on this DRD stock. As I said, do guys check out the podcast. We did a follow through on the first rule on doing your own thing. I was chatting with a good friend of mine, Lisa Fisher. Check out the podcast on the VillageTrader website or everywhere where good podcasts are aggregated. Anonymous is asking for Balo. Balo has a massive, both Balo and Mondi, they have a massive exposure in Russia. That's why they stock just took it just took a hiding. I was in this position, I got stopped out, which emphasizes why we should always respect our stop losses. Because imagine if I was stubborn and stuck to the trade, how bad would I have been hit? So both of them, it's their exposure to the Russian market that causes the stock to be hit this hard. So yeah, guys, if no more questions coming in, that's cool. We're gonna do this again next week. Remember to check out the podcast. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well. Have a great evening. Take care of yourself. If you can, take care of someone else. Let's do this again next week. Cheers, guys.